Hey YouTube, what's going on? Chris here. Wanted to bring you guys a little update on Bitcoin. And guys, we're at a very crucial area, and we've been in a very crucial area. So I want to talk about that here. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin on the 1 day, and if you guys could like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that, I really appreciate it. Helps us out, guys. And first of all, guys, I wanted to ask you a question. Do you believe with the ETF getting refiled, do you believe that this is going to spark the next bull run? Do you feel like this is going to start the moving up process? Are we going to be moving forward just because this got refiled and now we have the excitement of that coming back? Do you feel as though that's going to play a factor, or do you feel like that's not that big of a deal? And guys, personally for me, until I see it go through, I'm not going to get excited about it. It can get refiled. It can get, they're saying because the government shut down, all that type of stuff is why it didn't go through, which we all know that can be market manipulators and everything else. But, you tell me if you believe that that's a huge deal, that it did get refiled, or if you're kind of in my camp, yeah, it's great that it did get refiled. Obviously that's a good thing, but as opposed to not. But until I see it actually go through and pass, I'm not going to believe it. There's just been too many pump fakes, guys. So first of all, let's take a look and leave that down low, what you guys think about that. Give me your thoughts. So guys, what we're in now, we're forming this symmetrical triangle. So you can see how we've been going up and down in here, and what we're having is higher lows and we're having lower highs. Excuse me, guys. So what I'm looking for is this lower trend line going to hold, or are we going to double bottom? And this is basically where the double bottom would take place, guys, in this green area here. So this is kind of where I'm looking at a potential buy zone if it does go there. If things are looking good, that would be a potential area to get in quick, and then maybe you'd have to get out quick. It could happen like that, guys, because we could go down, we could double bottom here, we could come back up, so a throwback back to this trend line, and then we get push back down for a lower low. So I have to prepare for that as well. But I'm anticipating a bounce right in here. Remember, this isn't financial advice. That's if we do break this line and we close the candle below it. Now, to the upside, this is where I have as resistance, where most likely I would be selling. Say we had a nice move come in here. Obviously, we first have to deal with this trend line here along with the moving averages that are overhead right now. But this red box here would be where a lot of guys would probably take profits if they were in a long, and a lot of people would open up shorts, because this is going to be a lot of overhead resistance here. You can see the tweezer tops here. We have a shooting star candle here. We have basically a doji here. So, and we have the trend line coming down, guys. And that's if we get over all the moving averages and everything. So that's to the upside. And that's around that $4,000, $4,200. So those are the areas that I'm looking at. Buy areas, potential sell areas. I'm looking at the moving averages coming down overhead that are acting as overhead resistance. I'm looking at us grinding up this trend line here in this symmetrical triangle we've been forming, essentially. It's kind of looked like that descending triangle, guys. Now it's kind of forming into that symmetrical triangle when we draw these trend lines that we have on here now. So, and remember, with symmetrical triangles, they can break either way, but mostly they break with the trend, and the trend has been down. So I'm anticipating a break to the downside even more so than I am for the upside, but I have a plan for both, guys. If you don't have a plan for both, then you're not, you're not trading. You have to have a plan, and I've told a lot of people this. You have to have a plan for the downside, you have to plan for the upside, and you have to plan for the sideways. You have to have a plan for every scenario that's going to happen. You can't just be a perma bull or a perma bear. If you want to do this right, you have to be able to play both sides of the market. So, those are the areas that I'm looking at, guys, just to give you that. And now what we're going to do, we're going to step back. I'm going to pull those areas off, and we're going to go over the fib here, and we're going to see how that's looking, because that's very important as well, guys, the Fibonacci and where we're at in that. So, excuse me. All right, guys, so of the current move, let's see where we're at here. We're going to look at the fib two different ways. So right here, guys, we're also trying to defend the 0.786 Fibonacci area. Now, in cryptocurrency, it seemed like this year, a lot of bounces have occurred at 0.786. I'm not saying that's going to happen here by any type of means, guys. I'm planning potentially for a bounce. Like I said, to the upside, you have to have that plan. But once we got past that 0.618, I feel like, and we had all this fighting, I feel like since there is so much bots in this space, there's a lot of selling that would take place or further downside once the 0.618 was lost. Because when we had all this fighting and consolidation here, if we were to move up, we would have made that move there, guys, and we probably would have went to the 0.382 or the 0.236, around that 38.11 or 39.76 is what I would have been anticipating. And that didn't happen. So now we're relying upon the 0.786 holding. And if not, guys, most likely we're going to be going down to potentially make that double bottom if we do double bottom there, and if we don't just go and create a lower low at that point. So that's the Fibonacci in that angle, guys. Now we're going to take it from the top up here, from the fall. And before I do that, guys, so I can get this off here, we can really look at the pattern. Take a look at the RSI, though. We are still moving up here. We have those higher lows that are in place. We're still grinding on this line right here. So we have to pay attention to this, guys, because especially with this gap that we have here, if this trend line breaks, it's going to be more violent. This could be a good break to the downside if it does occur, if we do lose this trend line here. So be aware of that. But what we're going to do, we're going to step back now and see if we're getting anywhere near that 0.236 on this fib pool, because that's going to be very important for us as well. So guys, remember how I said the box up here where we were looking at around that 4,000, that would also coincide with the 0.236 acting as overhead resistance. So that's why I'm saying that is going to be such a tough area. There's going to be a lot of bears in that area, so we got to pay attention to that on the upside. And you can see where the downside, guys, right around this area where that double bottom would be. So we're going to keep our eye on that as well. There we go. Alright, guys, and now what I want to do, we're going to move into the 4 hours so we can get in a little bit closer on this pattern here and see what's happening. Just looking for potential trend lines to draw, guys. I draw one here, and this is how I look at stuff. So overhead resistance right in there. So that's going to be a tough area to break as well. And then we drop down here. Guys, we had a higher high, higher low, lower high, and now we're just moving sideways right now. We're going to see we're fighting with that 20 EMA, and that's at that 34.28. And then up above it, we're going to have the 50 moving average at 34.61. It's going to be acting as overhead resistance as well as this trend line right here. So we keep that in mind. We have the lower highs that are still in play, so we're going to have to look at that as well. And guys, just really pay attention to the volume as well. When you're in tight like this, take a look. Volume's still been decreasing, so that's been going down. So that would point us in the direction of maybe a potential break to the downside. Like we've been discussing, I'm planning for that downside. You know, guys, and just like when we were in 2017 and we had that blow off top, there could very well be a blow off bottom where it just even gets so much more overextended than anyone would think that it could get. Just do, you know, and it would be really fast, guys. It would happen within a month or a couple weeks or whatever, where you just really fall fast. Like from where we're at now, 34.26, all of a sudden we fall down to, you know, 1,800 in 2 days or something. We have a V-shaped recovery that could spark the next run as well. So those are the things that I look for. It's just one more huge capitulation dump, and I'm planning for that. I'm not saying it's going to happen. That 31, 32 could have been the bottom. Whoever bought that could have bought the absolute bottom, you know, going into the next cycle or this accumulation phase where we're moving sideways. And that's what we really could do for a while, guys. The more that we keep looking at this market and studying it, it does seem like, you know, there's two parts to this market. You know, two parts to the bear market, where we had all the extreme drops, everything we were going through, and then it's going to be that just sideways, slow grind accumulation phase for maybe a year, 2 years, year and a half, and then we'll start the next bull cycle or bull run. that could be a possibility as well, and we have to plan for all that. And what are you going to do during this time? My opinion is, guys, I'm going to learn as much as I can while the market's down like this, because this is the perfect time to be studying, to be learning, so that when the next bull market does come around, you'll have all your stuff in place in order. You'll know what you're looking for, and you'll know when to get out at the next top. And you've been through a market cycle in Bitcoin then, guys. We've been through one of the biggest bear markets that it's ever seen. So, in a couple of days, it will be the longest. I think we're pretty close to being tied with, what was it, guys, 2014 or 13, the bear market. So, these are the things that I'm looking for, guys. These are the things that I'm paying attention to, and I just wanted to bring them to you. And you guys let me know, what do you think is going to happen with this symmetrical triangle? Are we going to break down? Are we going to break up? Are you going to be buying if it goes to a double bottom? I want to hear what you guys have to say. And, guys, I just wish you all the best. Keep working hard. Keep trading. Keep learning this stuff and going through the book that I've been reading, the Thomas Bulkowski Chart Patterns, Getting Started in Chart Patterns, guys. It's an amazing book, and it's so much more than just getting started in. It's so in depth. So I love doing those tutorials for you, because that's where I've been learning a lot of stuff and bringing it to you all. But I'm excited. I'm going to be getting his encyclopedia of chart patterns soon, hopefully. So, I really want to dig into that as well. But I still got a lot of work to do in his Getting Started here. Just study it. Like I said, read it, guys, highlight it, and then go back and take notes on the book, and then move on to the next book, and you'll really retain a lot more. I bet you'll retain 40 to 50% more just from, obviously, you're reading it 3 times, you're highlighting it, and you're also taking notes on it. So you're going to have a lot higher retention than someone who just reads through the book once and that's it. So these are my tips, my tricks, guys. Let me know what's going to happen down there, and God bless each and every one of you. Take care.